Hello, beautiful people. Once more, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Bokangjut Akem. In this channel, we talk about agricultural and livestock activities as well as agribusiness. If this is your first time of watching my video, do well to subscribe, like, share, and drop your comment in the comment section. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about cannibalism in poultry. So, what is cannibalism all about? Cannibalism simply means it's a situation whereby birds can eat part or all of other birds, that is the entire bird of that particular species. What actually causes cannibalism? There are so many causes. There are so many things that they prompt birds, to carry out cannibalism in a particular flock. The first thing you have to know is boredom. When birds are bored, they have the tendency to maybe exercise their cannibalistic attitude on other birds. Another point that causes cannibalism is lack of exercise. The problem is that maybe the environment in which they are is very small, or maybe they don't have space to move, or maybe they don't have things that can actually distract them or keep them busy. It makes them to carry out this particular activity. Another very important point is overcrowding. If the surface area of your poultry is small, or maybe the surface you may have a surface area of maybe one or two, for example, and then instead of putting maybe 10 birds or maybe eight, depending on the breed, 10 for broilers, 8 to 10 per meter square, you decide to put 12 or 13. Be rest assured that you face this situation in your poultry. Another issue is high temperature. When temperatures are very, very high, the birds become very hot and they will be forced to exercise this particular, they may be forced to exercise cannibalism on other birds, maybe if they are weaker. Another thing that causes cannibalism is maybe parasitic irritation. They may be infested by other parasites, and as a result of that, they may tend to be cannibalistic. You equally have insufficient if the number of feeders is insufficient, especially during feeding. For example, a feeder can take about 25 birds. When you must have served feed, and then you observe there are other feeders where you see birds struggling and struggling to feed themselves where they can actually eat. When you realize that, that the feeders are insufficient. So that is another very important problem. Another issue that causes cannibalism too is insufficient quantity of fiber in their ration. It is a very big problem. When the fiber in their ration is insufficient, it will provoke them to exercise cannibalism on other birds. Another very important point that we have to talk about is prolapse. You have to avoid that. Birds that they have this prolapse, they should be removed from the flock and kept somewhere. Then birds with blood-stained plumage or feathers, they attract other birds to them. They attract other birds to themselves because in a broiler farm, I just want to take an example where you enter inside. Let's say you don't have boots on your feet. You enter inside your poultry farm, and then you have a small wound on your leg. When you have a small wound on your leg, that's when you realize that those birds can actually be attracted by that wound. For some of us, we have tried and seen how broilers they do react when they see maybe a wound in their leg. So those are some of the causes of cannibalism. So in this situation, how can we really handle cannibalism in poultry? The first point is that you have to create ample space where the birds can run around, keep themselves very, very, very busy, and then use up some energy. For example, if you have day old chicks, maybe A square meter can take about 20 to 25. As they are growing up, as they are growing up, know that the space will reduce. When they are adults, the number of birds per surface area automatically reduces. So it can be between 8 to 10, depending on maybe if they are broilers, then for layers, maybe about 6 to 8. So you have to provide that ample space for them to run around and exercise themselves. Another very important point is to provide an enrichment. You have to provide things that will keep the birds or distract them, keep them very busy, and then they have to be mentally stimulated, maybe by hanging things like vegetable where they can exercise, they can go and peck at it. Maybe they peck at all the time. That enrichment makes them some. Or in other poultries, they provide toils that will permit them to be running around with it. They run around, and then it keeps them very busy. Another very important point is for you to provide complete feed that will certainly meet up with the nutritional requirements of birds. Ensure that their feed meets their nutritional requirement. You can equally include, you can put salt in their ration. You can give them fresh grains so that it actually fills their gizzard. When they have complete feed, rich in protein, it will be difficult for them to exercise cannibalism on other birds. Then you have to avoid bright light in your poultry, because this bright light, too much bright light or prolonged period of light in your poultry will make the birds, to be very, very hostile. So you have to reduce the duration of light in your poultry, let's say about 10 to 15 hours daily. It's okay. But prolonged light periods in your poultry will be a problem. So when you reduce it, it helps to prevent cannibalism. Another point that you have to talk about is temperature. You have to manage the temperature. You have to manage the temperature of your poultry so that the birds will not be that hot. So it will actually make them to drop down or maybe avoid these cannibalistic tendencies in them. So if you equally want to avoid cannibalism or prevent cannibalism in your poultry, then you have to select non-cannibalistic genetic stock. That is what you have to. Those are the kind of birds that you have to use in your poultry. You equally have to trim their beaks as early as 6 weeks, so that the upper part of the beak can be cut off, so that they will not be able to peck at each other. Ensure that they have sufficient feeders. It is very, very important. Ensure that they have sufficient feeders, so that during feeding, they will not be struggling to feed, or others may not be deprived from eating. Then the weaker ones, that are being bullied at, you can create a separate place, or keep them somewhere, so that they can be able to regain. Or they will grow up, and when they are strong, before you mix them again with the other breed. Because if you allow the weaker ones with the stronger ones, know that that particular act of cannibalism will be difficult to control in your poultry. So ensure that you keep them separate from the other ones. Give them enough feed. Give them a balanced diet. Ensure that you provide ample space where they can exercise. It will go a long way to prevent cannibalism in your poultry. So if you find this video interesting, please don't hesitate to drop us a comment in our comment section. Equally, do us a favor to like, share, and above all, subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe to our channel, it gives us that courage to shoot more videos upload. At least people can equally benefit from the little knowledge that we share every day on YouTube. I want to say thank you very much for watching this video on my channel.